a Netflix movie based on a book that was banned almost immediately for being too sexy? Yeah, I'm in. All right, welcome to Tate's Take. If you're new here, I do spoiler-free movie and TV reviews. Give you a little background, just let you know if I think it's worth checking out or not. If that's something you're into, hit that subscribe button for your boy. For my regular Taste Takers, I just want to know if this is steamier than Bridgerton. Okay, we got some very juicy background here today. Lady Chatterley's Lover is a movie that was out in theaters for like a quick second, but it's available right now on Netflix. It's based on a book of the same name by a dude named D.H. Lawrence, and he's from England. It was the last book he wrote before he died. Respect. D.H. Lawrence wrote this book back in 1928, and it became instantly infamous. Why did it become instantly infamous? That's because of its erotic nature. It was so erotic at the time that England, his own country, refused to publish the book. So my man had to sneak over to Italy, which also shout out to Italy for allowing those kind of books. Y'all cool. Yeah, sneak over to Italy, get the book published, and then smuggle copies back to England. I already like it. They thought this book was so crazy that it actually ended up on trial for obscenities. Yeah, and that's mostly because they used the F word and the C word. Yeah, you know the C word. Not that C word, but the C word. And then the F word. The F word. Chill, YouTube, I didn't even say it. Just relax. So yeah, in the end, this book ended up being banned for decades. It wasn't until like the 1960s where you could find this book unedited. I guess it's pretty perfect timing for what some people call the sexual revolution. Fun fact to add to that though, real quick, I promise. Remember the movie Pleasantville? Yeah, it was all like black and white and stuff. Okay, so Reese Witherspoon's character in the movie is reading the book Lady Chatterley's Lover, and it's that book that gets her to turn into color. Yeah, like, that's so random. Y'all don't remember that movie? Anyway, before this Netflix movie, there's been a whole bunch of adaptations of this Lady Chatterley's Lover book from film and TV and like other books, even one as recently as 2015 that BBC put out. Not that BBC, man. Can we have an adult conversation here? Please. Sheesh. BBC, man, like the channel, like the network. Ugh. There wasn't even any black people in it. Anyway, that one's got my man James Norton from Belle. Watch Belle, please. And Richard Madden, who plays Icarus in The Eternals, the movie that everyone hates for some reason. The point is, it's a very popular title. I don't know how I missed this, but I guess you're not allowed to read this kind of stuff in school. But that brings us to this 2022 Netflix rendition. Let's talk about that. This one stars Jack O'Connell as Oliver Mellors, Matthew Duckett as Lord Chatterley, and Emma Corrin as Lady Chatterley. You may recognize them as Princess Diana from The Freaking Crown. And yes, they, them pronouns. Get with the program. All right. Plot time. Lady Chatterley's Lover tells the story of Lord Clifford Chatterley and his boo-thang, Connie. Lord Chatterley is rich. Connie is not. Well, I don't know that she's poor, but she's also a woman in the 1920s. So like, yeah. So boom, my man Clifford, Lord Chatterley, is in love with Connie. Marries her. Now she's Lady Chatterley. Instantly upgraded. There's only one problem. The First World War is going on. The good guys are winning. But my man Lord Chatterley goes out there and comes back paralyzed from the waist down. You hate to see it happen. And he's a newlywed. These injuries have now left him impotent, which means he cannot father a child. And it's bad enough that you can't like raise a child, play 2K, teach him how to ride a bike. But it's even worse because he's rich. So basically, if he doesn't have a son, he doesn't have anyone to pass on, you know, like his name and his riches and his gold and his, you know, his estate, like all that stuff. He doesn't have that. He can't have that. He's got a brilliant idea though. This is his idea. It's his idea. Just remember that. It's important. This is his idea. All right. He tells Lady Chatterley that she should just go out there in the wild just go roaming around the streets and get pregnant. And if it's a boy, he'll raise it as it's his own and then have someone to pass the fortune onto. And no one has to know. So of course, Lady Chatterley's like,
Bitch, you better be joking.
but he's like,
No, I'm not.
gotta be real careful what you wish for out here, Lord Chatterley. Because at first, Lady Chatterley's like, you idiot, I'm your wife. I'm not doing that. And then she was like, well, wait a minute, hold on, let me see. Because there's a dude who works on their estate who's kind of hot. And she's kind of into him. And she's like, all right, let me think. And now we got a movie. That was a book. That was too steamy, so it got banned. And then made into a series. And now into a movie. So what's my take? I'm going to give Lady Chatterley's Lover 3 stars. Nobody's going to click this movie not knowing what they're getting. This isn't the Lindsay Lohan holiday movie. This isn't Wednesday. This is just good old-fashioned, early 20th century softcore porn. But is it really steamy? All right, it's steamy. And you're going to see butt cheeks. And you're going to see boobs. And you're going to see dicks. And you're going to see some vagina. And you're going to see more butt cheeks. But if you ask me, could be a little steamier. And if it had just that little increase of steam, it would have probably had a 4-star rating. I mean, it's not that it's not steamy. This is Netflix. Like, you don't expect to turn on Netflix and see all that stuff that I said earlier. But it's just, for a book that got banned, you would expect it to be crazier. But it's 1928, so they obviously just weren't that freaky back then. Like, if a book got banned today, it would probably have to be crazy. I'm always curious, and I can never predict it, but there's a huge following of this book, I imagine. I'm just wondering what y'all would think about this movie. I think if you're a fan of the book, you'll enjoy seeing it, this version of it, because I would think that it's a good rendition of it. The acting is good. They picked the right people to play the parts. So you guys gotta let me know if it does your book justice, if you guys read it. I guess one thing I didn't like about the story, and I don't know if this is also in the book, but in the movie, like in the beginning, Lord Chatterley's like a pretty good dude. You can see that he actually loves Connie. He's nice to her. They're like really in love. And she's like, no, I'm here for it. Because a lot of the times back then, women are just marrying these dudes because they're like forced to. She seemed like she's into it. Because even her sister was like, girl, you really want to marry him? And she's like, yeah, he's cool. And he was nice. But as the movie goes on, he just becomes more and more of a tyrant. Like you find out that he's like kind of just like a bad dude. Especially with his disdain for the lower class. He's got Lady Chatterley taking care of him because, of course, he's paralyzed. And those wheelchairs back then, God, technology, thank you. And he's basically ignoring all her sexual advances. So she's got to be like, what am I doing here? I don't know. Maybe you can make the argument that his injuries forced him to be just more grumpy. But like in stories like this, when it's like dealing with infidelity and how she's interested in Oliver, it just makes it so much easier when the guy, like her husband, is like not a nice dude. Because in the beginning, he was like a good dude. So it's like, yeah, of course she's going to slide on this guy because he's not being nice to her. So I guess it was like a little too easy. But if that's in the book, cool, no problem. But I was like, oh, yes, of course. He turns into this monster and she has to step out. But, okay, I will give the argument that it could be just attributed to this injury because it can make anyone just a little sad and a little grumpy. So, cool. Overall, this is a story that we're familiar with. This woman is well off. She's a lady. And she's falling in love with someone who's pretty much like the lowest level of society, well, one of the lower levels of society. And her man, who she's leaving, is rich and wealthy and can take care of her. But it's not about that sometimes. Sometimes you just need love. It's very much like a similar story, you may have heard of it, called the Titanic. Yeah, like Rose Dawson is like Lady Chatterley and Oliver Mellows is Jack Dawson. And she leaves this clown, Mr. Hoakley. Yeah, it's like the same thing. You get it? It's all pretty messed up because Lord Chatterley, you're going to see like his disdain for the lower class. But it's also like, you know that if the roles were reversed, like no one was going to say anything. Like if he had some maid at the house, like he'll probably just have his way with her. But he can't say anything about that. But if a woman wants to smooch and canoodle with someone of the working class, it's a whole big deal. It's pretty messed up. The 1920 standards were not right. Some may say the standards today are even not right, But that's a story and a taste take for another day. Anyway, like I said, you guys know what you're getting when you click this. Period pieces, a little steamy. If you're looking for a little escape this weekend, just turn it on. I think you'll like it. I hope the book fans like it at least. It's a good watch. It's like 2 hours and like 10 minutes, but it didn't feel like boring or anything, so that's pretty cool. Just check it out if you have time. And just don't let the kids watch it. I said it's not that steamy, but it is steamy enough that kids shouldn't be seeing the stuff that they're showing in there. You know? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. Anyway, Lady Chowdy's Lover is available right now on Netflix. As always, thanks for checking out Taste Take. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. In the comments, just let me know if you plan on checking this movie out. Have you heard of this book before? Is the level of steam where you would like it? Is it too steamy? Is it not steamy enough? Or is it like, the middle porridge of steam? Thanks for the time, y'all. Peace.